Terminator 2, the 3D film would require 3 weeks of night shooting in the Arizona desert.
It was wonderful going out and seeing this future war set out in the desert. It was very unsettling. It was a phenomenal set, and it surpassed the sets we had on the previous shows.
I've never even heard of this place before. I say, what? We're going somewhere in the California and the Arizona border. There's a steel mill. There's a mining town.
You know, we're out in the middle of the desert, out in the middle of nowhere, you know? And look at this. It's awesome.
Actually, give me a big yell, because I can carry that yell through the air on the stunt guy.
John leaps on the motorcycle takes off, leaps through the time portal into the future, and we, the audience, get sucked behind them, and all of a sudden we're inhabiting their universe.
Jump into the future, you stop and look back. He comes into the future behind you, and his hands grow into hooks.
Why? T-1000 is still targeted on John and Sarah, and he's chased them back in time to the future world.
Here we go. Stand by, Robert.
You've gassed, you've taken off. He's taking a swipe at you.
When he gets in their camera range, about 6 feet away where I was swatting, I start swatting like crazy.
And slap!
He's gaining!
Let's run it a few times, and we'll tie the camera in the movement of the camera.
The way Jim shoots with action is it's always a moving camera. And that was one of the biggest challenges we had.
Come down, little Gino. Higher clip. Swing the main arm over. Okay, up a little higher. Okay, Doug, you come to the right. This is a move.
You know, these 3D cameras are used. These are 3D 70mm 2 cameras mounted. They weigh tons.
One is shooting down into a beam splitter, and the other one is shooting through it in order to get the two images aligned.
So new equipment had to be developed to allow Jim to get the kind of shots that he wants to get.
We probably had every crane ever built maneuvering a 600-pound package around, including cable cam, which can move up to 30, 40 miles an hour. We hooked our 600-pound rig to that.
He came to me before we started shooting. He says, this rigging is entirely different than in Terminator 2. This enables me to get much better shots here.
For me, the trick to doing 3D is to not to have one kind of gag where something's coming straight out at you after
Going right out to the audience.
You have to tell a story, you have to have a narrative, and you have to stick to the normal cinematic style. And then every once in a while, if something should happen to come off the screen and come into the audience, that's it. You try to integrate that in an organic way so the audience doesn't feel like they're just getting poked in the eye one time after another. Even though the goal is to poke them in the eye one time after another.
Because I want to set the stage for a shot where we go into one of these hits and we see it come back and go past the land.
Jim Cameron is a director that always goes all the way and then much more.
Lazy we don't want. Let me show you what I want you to do. It kind of goes like that. Once you shoot to my hand, you got to get your foot seated deep into this fender.
And he would drive everyone crazy about set decorating, what the set should look like. He has a very clear vision, and he is just such a perfectionist. That's just the way he is.
Okay, here we go. Rehearsing.
Well, they kept saying you're going to be running a lot.
How fast you want to go?
And I think I've run more in this than I did in the movie.
Action!
The wheels of the T-1000 really get stiff. But so far, I haven't let myself down.
Caught him. A mile up the road there.
There's a lot of running, escaping, trying to hide, trying to get away from the enemy and all those things. So I have to practice the spinning of the gun in a very efficient way and in a very accurate way in order to really sell the idea that it's a machine that I am rather than a regular human being. Then I have this gun with me in the car, I have it in the office, I take it with me everywhere, just to practice all the time so again it becomes second nature.
That's back. You cock the gun, fire again. His head comes open into the sauce head effect. It does stop him. He tumbles and falls. You're going to see it blast open. This guy will be going down up there.
Ready and action! Fire!
That's bitchy. We just want to do one more. I want to lessen this fire. We're on to the next shot.
Do one where we start on the robot. Very good.
We have now that opportunity to take something we have developed to a certain extent and now develop it even a little bit further. We, of course, are bringing the endoskeleton back to life. We have walking rigs that are carried on Shane Mahan's shoulder. We have the endoskeleton attached to a crane arm. We use all of these different methods to take this machine that's supposed to be able to walk on his own and simulate his walk.
Now the body is going to surge up and forward and down, and you're going to wind up in this position. The thing that was really important for me was because it was such a technological project with these huge cameras, very sophisticated visual effects and computer animation and all that, I always have to keep my eye clearly on the ball with respect to story and character. You're missing the point. As long as she's got ammo, she has to be fighting the T-1000. If she's fighting the T-1000 and we don't see the outcome, and we go into the future, and the next thing we know, the T-1000 comes jumping into the future with us, Sarah's dead. The audience finds their way into a story like this through the characters. Even beyond that, we've created new machines, new adversaries, new problems for the Terminator to face, and those are in 3D. So you're going to see a step in the evolution of the story and of the characters in T2 Battle Across Time, which may be finished in the third film.
In order to continue the dynamic action in the war between humans and machines, Cameron assembled an army of effects technicians and stuntmen. With a mind-boggling array of pyrotechnics, they would surround John and the Terminator with laser blasts from a flying hunter-killer, which would be added to the scene later in post-production.
Then we can have them play around and come back in a big circle and then chase them.
There's going to be some laser hits raking across the ground behind you, right? Like the flying hunter-killer still chasing you.
T2 and John Connor get pinned into a parking structure, and the flying HK can't get to him, the big one. So it deploys 4 smaller guys, which are the flying hunter killers.
Then the mini hunters are going to come around the column and shoot at you from out there, and that's when you get shot in the back.
Arnold actually physically interacts with this one.
And the thing's still trying to fly. It's still. So you have to do quit your whining. Bam.
But the actual flying ones that are in the scenes will be completely 100% computer generated.
Yeah, and what we should do is time it so that it's chasing them. Boom, 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 boom. They pass this boom, it's behind them.
Once you get right here, the top of that building's going to go right there. 100 gallons of gas, okay? Top of the metal building. Boom, that goes, right? There, we rehearsed it 20 times. Oh, we're just going to push the bike slowly right now, and you can tell them what's happening. So we knew exactly how many seconds it took for them to get from their first position to their last position. This ain't going to take long to get through here. That's still going to be fire pluming up even as you get right up in here, right? There were probably 20 different effects guys on different buttons setting all that pyro off.
These are cork and spark hits. We're going to put these in the ground, shoot them, and it'll look like a
This is where I'm triggering it. We call it a striker board. We'll connect it to that battery right before we get ready to shoot. And then I'll just take a screwdriver and I'll just fire it off. Okay, here we go. Stand by.
Here we go. Roll camera. We're rolling. And action.
That was a nice explosion. Really cool. This whole run is only 12.
It's getting hectic. From this position,
Hasta la vista, baby.